Cindy Humphreys, a 52-year-old British woman, is convinced her kitten Fidge saved her life by detecting her breast cancer. Bewildered at first, Humphreys was compelled to visit a physician after the 10-month-old cat began jumping on her breast and continued to do so for weeks on end. What doctors found astonished Humphreys. She had a malignant tumor in her breast about the size of a pea that could have metastasized if it hadn't been discovered early.
"25-year-old Rachel Mancino was enjoying a day at the park when she was suddenly attacked. A man grabbed her by the shoulders and pushed her to the ground with both hands before running off. That is when her crime-fighting African grey parrot, Funzi, stepped in to save day. Funzi flapped his wings and squawked repeatedly and scared off the attacker. Police believe this was a random attack. The suspect is still on the loose.
Even though his wife is an ambulance driver trained to take quick life-saving action, it was Simon Steggall's rabbit who came to his rescue in 2004. While his wife Victoria was in the kitchen, he had seemed to doze off in front of the TV, but in reality was suffering a diabetic reaction, unable to move or make a sound. Dory sensed his predicament and began anxiously hopping and fidgeting on his chest. Victoria soon noticed the odd behavior and realized what was really going on. She called for emergency assistance when she couldn't rouse him herself.
So pit bulls don't always have the best reputation, but one in Indiana being called a hero this morning. A 2.5-year-old pup woke up a legally deaf teenager who was sleeping when a fire broke out at his home. Nick Lamb was on the second floor and wasn't wearing his cochlear implants, so he had no idea what was going on. Now, when the dog woke him up, he quickly grabbed one of those implants and escaped with the dog just as the flames took over the house.
I took a deep breath and I went downstairs with Ace, and the whole house was covered in smoke and over.
When Joanne Outsman had a heart attack and collapsed to the ground, Lulu, her daughter's pot-bellied pig, rushed out of the house, lying down in the street to stop traffic. The pig tried relentlessly to get help, returning to the house to check on Joanne, only to rush back to the street for help. Finally, one person stopped and followed the determined pig back to the house, where they found Outsman in pain on the floor. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, and she was safe thanks to Lulu.
A man was spearfishing on the coast of Australia with his dog, Sky. The man was underwater when he suddenly realized he was being circled by 2 sharks. His dog, who was still in the boat, noticed the circling sharks as well, and in an act of heroism, jumped into the water to protect her owner. While the man was able to escape, the dog unfortunately wasn't so lucky. In an interview after the attack, the man said, "Sometimes I wish it was me and not her." Sky was
At 10:30 p.m. on December 31st, Bob ran out to get another log for his fire when he slipped and fell on the ice, breaking his neck. Unable to move, he screamed for help, but with the nearest neighbor a quarter-mile away, it was his golden retriever Kelsey that ran to his side. The temperature dipped to freezing, but Kelsey stayed by Bob, barking for help and licking his face and hands to keep him warm. The 64-year-old lost consciousness, but Kelsey's howling eventually got the attention of a neighbor, who finally discovered Bob 20 hours later. He was rushed to the hospital, where a doctor performed emergency surgery to save him. Now recovering nicely, Bob claims he owes his life to 2 heroes, his dog and his dog.
Slinky Malinky might not have the most noble name, but his life-saving actions prove that he is nothing short of a superhero. Slinky's owner was a retired nurse in England named Jenny. She collapsed in her house after having a bad reaction to a medication she took. For a few days, she drifted in and out of consciousness, but fortunately, the cat knew it was time to take action. He managed to escape the house. He began tapping on the window of a neighbor's house, trying to tell them to check on Jenny, who they discovered just in time. This cat saved her life. Without him, she might not have made it.
A 3-year-old girl was found alive since she had been gone for days. Her mother believed that her daughter and her dog had gone with their father to a part of remote Siberia, but had no way to check because of a lack of phone connections, discovering the awful truth 4 days later when a search was launched. The girl was 3 years old and survived by eating wild berries and drinking river water in territory roamed with bears and wolves. She made herself a bed in the grass, which helped her survive, but meant that she was almost impossible to find for helicopters and drones. She just blended into the background. Initially, the family was worried when they found only the dog. However, once the puppy came home, it led them back to the girl. Something truly amazing. A story out of a novel. She escaped with only mosquito bites.